Hello, my name is Jason McLeod. I'm an independent researcher and an author of Dark Siege, A Connecticut Family's Nightmare, available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and through my website, darksiege.com. It's the real case history of the most terrifying haunting I've ever experienced in 25 years of being an investigator. It's getting phenomenal reviews on Amazon. It's now ranked number 16 in overall Kindle sales downloads in the occult spirituality section. Anyway, I spent a great deal of time yesterday analyzing the Super Bowl commercials and the hidden symbolism and suggestive messaging held within them. And I'm a follower and fan of David Icke, who's one of my most influential and who's one of the most respected researchers that I know, and who's dedicated his life to exposing truths that'll blow your marbles. And his books, The Biggest Secret and The Truth Shall Set You Free, Human Race, Get Off Your Knees, The Lion Sleeps No More, all huge books packed full of information that'll just blow you away, and I highly suggest reading them. And if you just want to watch his amazing presentation, I would go to davidicke.com and download and pay for the 7-hour live at Wembley Arena presentation. It'll blow your mind. It will really expose you to what's going on and pull you right outside of the Matrix. And ironically, the Matrix is exactly what's going on. So I'll leave the information with you, and you can do with it what you will, but I want to bring this to your attention because it's very important. David exposes the elite bloodlines that control the world. These are the bankers, these are the top 1%, these are the ancient bloodlines that go all the way back to Sumeria, hundreds of thousands of years, that have always maintained an iron grip on this world and the people of the world. And it just gets insane when you get deep into down the rabbit hole, like he explains. But I wanted to look at the commercials and basically go over the broad general messages, the symbolism in the background and in the foreground of these commercials, who and which actors and actresses were involved, the actual dialogue or spoken messages in the commercials, the number and the numerical order of the commercials themselves, the broad general themes of all of the commercials combined with one another, and the relevance of one commercial compared to the next in sequence, and so forth. There are several broad general themes. And like David exposes that Hollywood, the term Hollywood comes from holly, which is the wood that is made in the old ancient stories of magicians' wands. The Hollywood to create the magician wand to cast the spell over humanity. And David exposes through his books that they maintain this false sense of awareness, this false paradigm that they project upon the world and they keep us locked into, and they manipulate us most severely through the use of audio and visual means. Television was huge, and then movies, and movies today with three dimensions and so forth, and just very easy to program people. And when you watch TV, especially for extended periods, you really do turn into this mind-numbed, highly suggestive state, and it's easy to program you. Look at what they call television stations, programs. Or not the stations, but the actual program guide. Which program are we going to watch tonight, honey? It's a program. It's a program for your mind, and it projects and programs you to think and act a certain way. I wonder how we would really act and behave if no one ever watched television. How people would act as individuals instead of part of the group mentality. Whether it's making a certain face or a certain hand gesture, or dressing a certain way, or behaving a certain way, using the certain sayings and slogans and so forth. It just goes on and on. But anyway, it's a mind control programming method. And with the Super Bowl audience, one of the largest in the world, this is prime time for this group of illumined ones who have a grip and a grasp on all of the ancient esoteric knowledge and have held it for themselves, while keeping the rest of the world unaware about what's going on. These people are very deeply involved in numerology and astrology, ceremonial magic, satanic practices, and you may think I'm off the wall for even mentioning that, but it's true, and David exposes it as well. And they use all these things to their advantage, and they use numbers to their advantage, and they hide hidden symbols inside messages that are, we believe, programs people, especially through the subconscious mind. So we'll go right into the first commercial, which was Noah's Ark, the flood of the ages. I mean, Noah's flood that's going to come and completely destroy the earth. It's all about apocalyptic messages. And the one girl says, "This is the end," and he says, "No, it's the beginning." It is the beginning. It's the beginning of a new world for them once they waste everything here. Very, very interesting. It's apocalyptic message. Commercial number 2 was the Maserati Ghibli ad, and the first image is a great tidal wave, great wave, and the Maserati symbol is a trident, which is the symbol of Neptune, the Poseidon, god of the oceans, who could cause great destruction, as in a huge tidal wave shown in Noah's Ark. The world is full of giants, the girl says. They have always been here. This could be a direct reference to the Nephilim giants, the Watchers, who came down from the heavens and saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they mated with them and created the Nephilim giants. All over the world, they're unearthing gigantic skeletons where the normal human being would fit in the height of the femur of these giants, and that's how massive these beings were. Ancient history talks about there were giants on the earth. Eric von Daniken is a great researcher to go read up on as far as that subject is concerned. Let's see. All over the world we're unearthing these giant skeletons, but is that proof of these beings? They have always been here. Who's always been here? Giants? All over the world we are unearthing the giant skeletons. So are they extraterrestrials? We had to learn how to deal with them, she says. Deal with them is a pretty strong statement. We were small but fast, remember? Like wind pouring out of nowhere. What is that reference to? We thought being clever was more important as long as we kept our heads down and as long as we trusted what we felt in our guts and in our hearts. Who's we? Is this the elites talking? Then we were ready. We'd wait until they got sleepy. Is this a reference that the masses are asleep? We'd wait until they were so big that they could barely move. Is this a reference to the huge levels of obesity in this country? The quote comes to mind, "You can't fight back if you're sick, tired, and obese." You can't fight back against this new world order or fight back to protect yourself if you're sick, laden with all these pharmaceutical drugs, and you're tired and you're obese through the foods that they're providing for the people. Then we walk out of the shadows, quietly walk out of the dark and strike. Then the end text is just text, and it says, "We have prepared, now we strike." Sure, it's a car reference, it's a commercial, but you have to understand the commercials, the corporations behind these commercials, the corporations are all controlled by the elites. They control everything, the media, education, the health industry, the food industry, everything, the music industry, everything. They control everything through their foundations and their corporations. So you have to look at the message behind the message, what they're really trying to tell you. We are now ready to strike. We've been hiding and waiting in the shadows, the shadow governments controlling things behind the scenes and causing all kinds of problems for humanity while dictating what's happening with humanity at the same time. But now they've basically said, we're ready to come out and let you have it. That's very alarming. And a Ghibli definition is a hot, dry, dust-bearing wind, specifically in Libya, in the springtime and in the summertime. It can make life miserable and have a profound effect on the landscape. It makes sense that this new car company would choose this idea for a car name, but what if it has nothing to do with a car at all, and it is an awareness or a probability brought through the universal law of intention, and actually something to do with giants or Nephilim who are being unearthed all over the world, changing the landscape. And what if something will change the landscape of Libya? Giants, a hot wind? Is that a reference to a nuclear blast? That's how it was described in ancient Sumerian texts. The poison, invisible wind came through and wasted everybody. Commercial 3 is dozens and dozens of cartoon missiles launching and filling the sky. What is that a reference to? And why is it always a predominance of war, missiles, especially with the threat of these new hypersonic Chinese missiles that the Pentagon says we have no defense against? Very interesting. The next is the Time Warner cable commercial. Now this was just off the charts for me. There's a vampire sucking the blood in the life of a victim. He goes inside and meets a man who says, "Welcome to the New World." Okay, the New World Order is all what all these elites are talking about. Go ahead and Google New World Order, go on YouTube, and you'll find hundreds of videos from world leaders all talking about this New World Order that they will succeed in creating regardless of whether we want it or not, and so forth. And it's just mind-blowing. We've got the best entertainment. The future is coming, he says. And then there's a man saying, "I saw this in the news the other day." Okay, programming about programming. Basically saying that because somebody said they saw it in the news, then therefore it must be true. The news is nothing. I mean, if it had any integrity whatsoever, it would be amazing, but it just does not. You're not getting accurate information in the mainstream news. I'm trying to tell you that right now. These are the best ways to get it. Doesn't say what, but get what? Information. We're going to be on your phones, your tablets, and your computers. This is a statement, like they're going to be there whether we ask for it or not. It's not saying that we're asking for your business. If you want to watch television or you want to watch some shows, you can access that on your phones, tablets, and computers. We're going to be on your phones, tablets, and computers. Then there's there's soldiers running through the hallway with rifles. There's cops chasing bad guys. The all-seeing eye floating above is this big blue eye. Looks like a beholder out of Dungeons and Dragons. That's how huge the thing is. Plainly obvious, the Illuminati all-seeing eye, which is the eye on top of the pyramid. It's on the dollar bill. There's reptiles scampering along behind the eye on these different platforms, different levels. And David Icke explains that those in control have DNA, which is reptilian based, and they're incessantly obsessed with their reptilian DNA, and that's the bloodlines. And there's many references to bloodlines in the rest of these commercials, and a lot of them will be presented as we go further. But the Time Warner cable spiral eye symbol in the center, which to me is just a hypnotic symbol to basically mesmerize people with their programming, then at the end, there's an athlete backing into what looks to be like a transporter or a Stargate or a wormhole device or a disintegrator. He just disappears into balls of energy. And he says, "Be more careful." And is that a warning to us? But then he says, "And by the way, we can read minds too," at the end of that commercial. That's all I have for this segment because I want to do it in 15-minute blocks. But please watch part 2. And if you found this interesting, hold on to your seats.